In this video, I'm going to give my honest review of the Spawn Compendium, and I'm also going to be comparing the art in Spawn Compendium to the artwork from the original comics. And what essentially I'm talking about when I say I'm going to compare the artwork is the quality of print. So you'll notice here in the Spawn Compendium, guys, that the artwork is printed in really high quality. It's on a semi-gloss paper. It's got like a gloss sheen to it. And if you take a good look at the artwork, it's very vibrant, it's very bright, it's very high quality. So now that you've seen that, take a look at the art from the original comics. It's somewhat dull, guys. It might be hard to see this in video, but in person you can really tell. The colors aren't as vibrant. The pages almost have like a grainy feel to them. The pages also kind of feel like slightly upgraded newspaper paper. So this is issue 2 from the original comics. I mean, the artwork on the cover is beautiful, but if you open these, guys, and you take a good look at the paper, it has more of a flat finish to it. It doesn't have that glossy kind of look to it that the artwork in the compendium has. So we can see here too, it feels like newspaper paper, right? So now that you've seen those, let's take another look at some of the art from the Spawn Compendium. Let me find a good page here, guys, to show you. Bear with me. It's just a higher quality paper. It's a higher quality print, as you can see. So let's get into the review. This is the first 50 to 60 issues of the Spawn comics. I think it's 50. This is about $35 right now on Amazon. They're marked down from $59.99. If you've been on the fence about reading the Spawn comics and you want to get started, this is probably your best bet. It's also the most economical option, guys, because if you're going to buy the first 50 to 60 issues, individually, you're going to spend a hell of a lot more than $35. So I have a couple of issues with this, but for the most part, I give this a 9 out of 10. And I give it a 9 out of 10 because of the fact that for some weird reason, when they produced these, the Spawn Compendiums, and there's, I believe, 4 or 5 compendiums. This is Compendium 1. But when they produced these, they didn't include the covers of the comics. So when you go from like comic 1 to comic 2, there's no cover in between. There's just like a issue marker at the top right hand corner. I'll show you guys what I mean. But my problem, it doesn't affect the readability, but the Spawn artwork on the covers is so awesome that it would have been nice if they included the covers. Again, the covers they're awesome, especially on the original Spawn comics, which is what Compendium 1 is full of. So let me show you guys what I mean. Let me find an example. Here we go. So instead of there being a cover in front of, the beginning of each comic, each issue, what they've done is they've just put this little issue marker, and it's only on the front or the first page. So what I mean by that is you don't see issue 1 on any of the other corners. There's also no page numbers, which again, it's not that big of an issue, but it would have been nice to have had page numbers, especially on something this big. It would have made it easier to remember your place where you left off. Now, of course, you can use a bookmark, etc. But again, those are really my only 2 issues with the Spawn Compendium. A lack of covers and a lack of page numbers. And if I had to pick between one or the other, I would have rather had the covers. I can live without page numbers. But this thing is heavy duty. Look at how thick it is. It's well put together, you guys. The spine, even though it's a paperback, seems really sturdy. The glue is really strong. And what I really like about these compendiums, at least Compendium 1, and I'll talk about the other compendiums and why I have an issue with them in just a second. But one thing I really love about this book is the quality of the artwork, the paper. It's glossy. And I'll show you guys on the screen right now what the original comics looked like, the quality of print, the quality of the color, the pages, etc., so that you can see a side-by-side of what I mean when I say that the Spawn Compendium has much higher quality artwork. It's not that the artwork's better, it's the printing. The colors are more vibrant. The pages have like this semi-gloss sheen to them. And let me just show you guys. Look at this. The colors are very vibrant. It's like they took the original comics and upgraded them. They upgraded the colors, etc. So the pages are also much more durable in the Spawn Compendium than the normal original comics, the single comics. Now, I collect the original comics, but I don't really like to read through them because they're collector's items and they're really delicate. So it's nice to have a big compendium like this for 35 bucks that I can read at my own leisure without having to worry about damaging the collectible, individual comics. So Amazon sent this to me damaged. You guys can probably see a little crease right here. They just put it in a box without bubble wrap. The box was much larger than the book. So every time the truck stopped on its way here, the book probably slid around inside of the box and it got damaged. You can also see, let me see. I've actually fixed it pretty good, but there's a crease right here. The first 8 pages in the cover were damaged. But since this book is so heavy, I just, when it got here, put it upside down like that on its face and let it sit for a few days. And most of the creases have worked themselves out. But let me just show you guys a couple other examples of the artwork. Now, Spawn comics are made for adults, so these comics are not like your typical comics that are made for children. There's stuff in here that, again, is for adults only. That's one of the reasons why I like Spawn. It's made for a more mature audience. But look at the artwork. The artwork is phenomenal, you guys. And again, it's got this kind of glossy sheen to it. As you can see on the video right now, the print quality is so much better on the compendium than in the original comics. But, I mean, look at that. Spawn is amazing. I'm a huge Spawn geek. I always have been. I grew up collecting the toys. I grew up kind of with an obsession with Spawn. And as an adult, I still love Spawn. I still love reading the comics. The action figures are awesome. I'm actually going to start collecting them again, guys. I used to have a big collection, but I gave them all away. I wish I wouldn't have ever done that because some of those figures are worth some good money. But look at the artwork. How can you not like Spawn? Spawn is absolutely badass. Look at his cape. Look at the artwork, guys. I don't see how anyone can dislike Spawn. So here's the thing. The best Spawn stuff, in my opinion, are the comics, the HBO series, the animated series, and the action figures. The movie that they made, I can't remember what year it came out, in my opinion, was absolute garbage. We have yet to have a good Spawn movie. The greatest Spawn films, even though it was an animated series, the best Spawn content in video format is the HBO animated series. It was very dark, very gritty, just awesome. I loved the atmosphere of the alleys, excuse me. The artwork was just done beautifully, excuse me. The atmosphere of the entire series, the HBO series, it just has this nostalgic current, this undercurrent, this foundation to it that I love. But yeah, the movie was just total garbage, you guys. But what you'll find is that if you watch the animated series, Spawn's demeanor, at least in my opinion, is much different than his demeanor in the comics. Spawn is he doesn't really like communicating with many people in the animated series. You'll notice that when Spawn's in the alleys, or the alley that he ends up living in after he returns to Earth from hell, there's a bunch of homeless people that live in the alleys, and Spawn is reluctant to have conversations with them or to even be kind of polite to them. In the animated series, he doesn't really speak much to them, whereas in the comics, Spawn is much more communicative and acts more like a hero in a sense than an anti-hero. I hope that makes sense. So the comics, his behavior, his demeanor is much different than in the animated series, as well as in the movie. But there's parts of this, you guys, there's parts of the comics that are kind of cheesy. Some of the writing is really cheesy, but it doesn't bug me at all. So comics, you guys, what I like about the Spawn comics, and these are really the only comics that I read, in all honesty, what I like about these comics, let me find a cool piece of artwork for you. What I really like about the comics, you guys, one second, is that the images are static, right? They don't move. And because of that, you kind of have to use your imagination. So what I like to do is I don't rush through these while I'm reading them. I really take my time on each page to absorb the artwork. And I really take time to use reading this compendium, the comics, as an exercise in my imagination. So again, I'll read like one page, I'll read the speech bubbles, and then I'll sit back while reading or looking at the artwork and kind of envision everything unfolding in my imagination. And I might include things in my imagination that happen in each of the scenes, each of the pages. Excuse me, it's almost smacked the camera. But what am I trying to say without rambling? I don't want to make this one too long. I really take my time with these and use my imagination to not only like envision everything that's going on the pages, the speech bubbles, etc., but I like to also play in my mind with like including things in my mind's eye that aren't in the comics. So I might imagine, I might read this and then imagine things unfolding that aren't in the comics. I hope that makes sense. I think it does. But yeah, for $35, guys, I think this is a steal. Again, this is really the only comic book that I read. I'm not a big fan of like Marvel and all that other crap. I think it's really childish. And that's one of the reasons why I like Spawn so much, is because it's designed for adults. It's not designed for children. So anyways, you guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I don't want to make it go too long, but look at the artwork. It's just got this awesome feel to it. I think that they did an excellent job putting these comics together. Even though parts of the comics are really cheesy, that's okay. Again, use your imagination and you'll have a great time with this, I think. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I give this a 10 out of 10. I actually give it a 9 out of 10. It would have been nice if they had included the page covers or the comic covers dividing each of the comics. The artwork on those comics is really dear to my heart, and I would have loved to have had them on this high quality paper, right? To have been able to look at it all. But I mean, I can't complain. For $35, this is really a steal. But anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I put links in the description box below if you want to pick one of these up. If you use the affiliate link in the description box, I get a small percentage of the sale. But yeah, this and the HBO animated series are the two greatest ways to enter into the Spawn universe. Until next time, peace be with you.